Hey, what's going on? It's Alex Alvern, and goddamn am I excited to talk to you about the latest episode of ReZero Season 2, Episode 5. So much has happened in this episode across the board. We got a ton of character development, we got a ton of plot progression, and even more new questions and mysteries being raised. Like, is Frederica going double sour on us, telling us to avoid Garfield when it sounds like she may have been the one to be avoided in the first place? The bad bowel bish is back, leading to the questions of, why is she back? Why now? And why does Roswaal, when he's rich enough to have that much property, not invest in better security? You would think he can afford at least 20 or 30 knights to guard the mansion. And if Beatrice is his form of property security, why does she not keep a closer eye on these intruders? Why is Emilia so terrified to confront her past? Did she kill babies? It looks like there's a whole political faction in the sanctuary that doesn't want it to be freed. What will they do? Ron basically tells Subaru, trust no one. We're introduced to Lollyhag, Season 2 and the Sanctuary's version of Beatrice. Who is she and who does she work for? Where will Subaru respawn now that the halls of Roswaal Manor are covered with his poopy? Hopefully after he took his first trial, because I don't know how this show would have him go through that entire thing all over again. We also get insane levels of character development, again, all in just one episode. Subaru goes from simp to savior. Frederica goes from helpful to sketchy. Roswaal goes from semi-helpful-ish to goddamn, he's a bastard. And Otto changes career paths from merchant to human trafficker, but in a good way. Let's dive in. The storytelling in this episode is crafted masterfully, as its start and end are complete opposite ends of the spectrum. We start with Subaru in classic Subaru fashion, telling the Witch of Greed, hey, you look pretty good in that uniform. Is our boy becoming suave? Contrast that happy-go-lucky intro with the ending of how many messed up scenes we saw in Season 1, with one of the first villains of the series making a comeback in her signature fashion of disemboweling Subaru yet again. Oh, those poor innards. Roswaal's character takes a turn this episode. I've mentioned many a times that this dude is sketchy. First he leaves in the middle of a war, like a deadbeat dad who's running away from alimony payments, and now we finally find out why in this episode. The reason everything happened the way it did was because, drumroll, it was all as he has planned it, mwahaha. And this was an amazing scene because you had three people in a room, all with an extremely wide range of emotions. You have Ram, who clearly knows the situation is effed up, but is stern and professional about her job, so she has to keep her cool. So she stops Subaru from punching Roswaal because A, that's her boss, and B, because even though he's bandaged up, Roswaal can still mop the floor with Subaru. Then we have Subaru, who is literally about to go apeshit, and rightfully so, considering Roswaal basically calls all the villagers disposable pawns in his quest to make Emilia the queen. And then you have Roswaal just chilling in bed, smiling like a clown. On a logical level, what Roswaal is saying is valid logic. His number one goal is to make Emilia the queen. His philosophy is one of the ends justify the means, as he's willing to do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. And so far, his plan has been working. The villagers do now see Emilia in a much better light than they did at the start of the series. But even so, it still makes him a scheming fiend. The show's starting to take this interesting turn where it's like, I will do what I must to sit on the Iron Throne, even if it means burning my daughter at the stake. If you think about the situation carefully though, there is something very ironic going on here. Look at how people treated Emilia before the major battle last season, and look at how they're treating her now. And it's true, the difference is like night and day. But the irony here is that before, Team Emilia has done nothing wrong and she's always treated everybody nicely, and they hated her for no reason. Now, they technically do have a reason to hate Team Emilia, but they love her. Politics. The people of the ReZero world are as sheep. This massive revelation about Roswaal's intentions and reasoning raises as many questions as it answers. Why did Roswaal put so much faith in our boy Subaru? And as soon as I thought of that question, Subaru thankfully spits it right out, like, yo, why did you think I would be able to help? I was a chump last time you saw me. What the hell, Roswaal? And then Roswaal's like, and this conversation's over. I'm an anime only for this series, so I don't know the answer to this, but it's seeming more and more likely that Roswaal knows more than he lets on about Subaru's ability. Alright, here's my prediction. Roswaal is in cahoots with the Witch of Envy, Satella, and they're somehow working together to bring Subaru into this world and take it over using his power. It's also worth noting that Subaru's voice actor did a spectacular job exemplifying the rage that Subaru felt towards Roswaal in this scene. I'm a big fan of this guy's work. Moving on to a different segment of the episode, the trials themselves. We see a very interesting duality of the differences between how Subaru is handling his past with how Emilia handles hers. Subaru not only crushed his first trial, but was actually thankful that he even had the opportunity to go through it, leading Echidna to just have her jaw dropped. Like, what? You enjoyed that? Whereas Emilia, each time she goes through that trial attempt, she's just trembling in horror, as if her past consisted of shoving small puppies into blenders. which leads us to wonder, what is her actual relationship with Satella? Based on how she called herself Satella in Subaru's first life in Season 1, and how Puck called Satella his daughter after one of the attempts to kill Betelgeuse, my theory is that Emilia is like an alter ego of Satella, two split and separate personalities living in the same shell. Also, if she's having this much trouble with just one trial, how are they planning to have her complete all 3 challenges? On the topic of the trials, the way we see Subaru handle himself when he's talking with Ekidona in the beginning of the episode just makes him my homeboy. Like, it's all fun and games and everything, and he's fine making jokes and all, and taking some verbal abuse now and then, but as soon as Ekidona says anything even remotely close to being considered as demeaning or insulting to his parents, Subaru doesn't yell, he doesn't scream or anything like that. He just calmly, but very firmly says, "Hey, don't go there. You don't give any lip about my parents. My parents are the shit, and that's all I have to say about that." Master of political sleuthing though, he makes sure to leave on a good note, offering Ekidona a sincere thank you for letting him get closure with his family. Honestly, I'm enjoying Season 2 Subaru much more than Season 1 Subaru. If you've been watching my channel, you'll know that there's few things I hate more than simps, and Subaru was simp supreme for most of the scenes in the first season, at least in the first half of it. But we're starting to see some great development in his attitude and growth as a person here, and I'm in full support of that. I will say that one part I'm pretty confused on, maybe somebody here can comment below and help me understand this. Am I understanding this right, that only mixed breeds like half-elves get trapped in the sanctuary, while regular humans are free to come and go? And if so, I actually don't understand this whole controversy about keeping the sanctuary locked down to keep the outside world out. If we assume that a major portion of the world is made up of humans, aren't they already able to enter and leave the sanctuary if they wanted to? If the mixed breeds wanted to live in isolation from them, wouldn't they need a completely different protection mechanism? Comment below if you can help me understand this. Except you, Mango Prophets, I'm an anime only, so I want ignorant theories only. Alright, I know I went a bit out of order there, but I think that covered most of the main topics that I wanted to cover. There's other aspects that I'm obviously excited for, like seeing what Frederica's role is in all of this, seeing where Subaru respawns and what course of action he'll take differently this time, especially if he's now worried for Rem's safety, since that would mean he can't just not go to the mansion now to avoid Bow Lady, and seeing how they get Emilia to pass the trials or if Subaru ends up being the one to shoulder the burden. I guess we'll find out next episode. Alright, if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to be notified of my future videos. And leave a comment below on what you thought of this episode and my review. Thanks again for watching. I'm Alex Alvern, and I'll see you in the next one.